Postecoglou turns on the Celtic board. Following back-to-back successes to reach the group stage of the Champions League in 2017 and 2018, the club should have had the platform to regularly cash in on a seeded route to a £30 million windfall. Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon, and Ange Postecoglou have all failed the task, which suggests that the problem is elsewhere in the club. Following a December managerial review, a 106-day search for a manager, the Celtic board provided Ange Postecoglou with Lille Abada to add to the squad that failed so miserably last season. Postecoglou hasn't been allowed to bring in an assistant coach to help with the enormous task of turning the squad over. Just to handicap him a little more, Kris Ajer was sold to leave Greg Taylor as his most experienced defender. Ange was presented as the brave new face of Celtic, bringing new world thinking to the job, having worked in Japan, an Australian visionary whose main success had been at the 2014 World Cup finals in Brazil, where the Socceroos lost out at the group stage. He went on to say, "I'm the person who has been put in charge. We haven't got players in. Obviously I haven't done a good enough job convincing people we need to bring people in." That tells you that the board hasn't changed at all. Despite a decade in the job, Ian Bankier was happy to send Postecoglou into battle with a threadbare squad. A goalkeeper that is the second choice to someone many fans believe has barely made a save as a Celtic player. An 18-year-old making his competitive debut with two of the front five, Christian Ajer, in the final 12 months of their Celtic contracts. And they couldn't give a shit about the club. Bankier should be able to remember AEK Athens, Cluj and Ferencváros, if he has learned nothing as he oversaw the failure to get past Midtjylland as another campaign opens up pointing towards disaster. Michael Stewart has ripped into the Celtic board after their catastrophic UCL exit to Midtjylland last night. Celtic were bundled out of UEFA's top competition at the second qualifying round by Bo Henriksen's side, on a night to forget for the Hoops. Callum McGregor's stunner looked to have sent Celtic into the next round for a daunting challenge against PSV Eindhoven. But Midtjylland fired home, with half an hour to go, before bagging a winner in extra time. It's left Celtic reflecting on a painful night for the club. Major lessons need to be learned, and Stewart highlighted the board's failure to prepare live on Premier Sports. You look at the Cluj one for example. Even though they performed well in the group stages, too often they don't get the business done that they need to for these games. Big games that come along early, they're lacking. You think of the number of years they've gone into huge European ties with a centre-back pairing that simply isn't good enough. In previous years it's slightly different. This season they didn't get the structure in place to actually enable them to go and get the deals done. Ange Postecoglou could have been in this job in February or March. They could have brought him in, had a free hit in the last few months of the season, whilst getting in place the targets needed to strengthen the team. Michael Stewart spot on, Celtic should never be losing to Midtjylland. This tie may have been officially lost tonight, but the truth is that the groundwork was laid long ago. When the Neil Lennon era was going from one catastrophe to the next, changes were needed there and then. Bringing in Postecoglou several months ago would have meant he would have been in a much better position than he currently is. His new signings would have been identified earlier. His new style of play would have been more ingrained into this Celtic side. More work to halt this absolute disaster of a night would have been done. Imagine if Celtic had Carl Starfelt and Kyogo Furuhashi available for tonight. Imagine a first-choice right-back had been sourced and signed. The manager would have been in a much better place. Every single year we're counting the cost of a failure to prepare for these fixtures. There's a total arrogance within this football club, and not from the manager. An arrogance that we can just waltz through these early qualifiers with ease. Now we're left with yet another embarrassment. Exactly like we were last year against Ferencváros. Exactly like we were against Cluj. And once again, the board is to blame. How do you feel about last night?